Ebomone gente ayekene ụnụ ọzọ n'ụbọchị uhuruchi nke taa. Anyị sị ka nkwenye chiri ya zelu. Anyị sị ndị be anyị na ọ ya dịra n'Igbo na mma na ya dịka echi na-eche ada agwụ ọgwụ. Atụ anyị kwuru otu a ka ọ ya dịrịrị ise ise ise. Dịka o si dị, anyị agbapụ na ya ọsọ wutere ya bụ news headline nke nwanne anyị nwaanyị bụ Esther Nwachukwu gwere n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị uhuruchi nke taa bụ gbasịta maka Maazị Nnamdi Kanu and gbasịta maka onye Trump mere the Attorney General and the coast we receive the indigenous people of Biafra. Alright, dịka o si dị, anyị agbadogodi na ebe a ka unu ga-ya bụ ife nwanne anyị nwaanyị were ịgwa anyị n'iru akwụkwọ dịka na ga-ya bụ ife ga-esi drọpụra ife iche n'ụdị nke gị gbasịta maka ya bụ ife ndị nọgasị n'iru akwụkwọ ọ kọwagasị dịka o si wee dị. Alright, over to you.
Much is just because of how much the naira value has depreciated.
That is not even up to the yearly budget of New York NYPD.
So in other words, we shouldn't panic, right? It's not something to panic over.
For me, it's not something to worry about. The only thing is that they are not making good use of it.
Okay.
It's not being channeled towards production.
Okay.
It is being shared or wasted. So that is the only
Go ahead.
thing about it.
All right. Mr. Peter Anosike, before we proceed further, I would actually like us to listen to this because the next conversation is concerning this particular situation where Trump's Attorney General nominee has actually received the Biafran Charter. I recall 2 or 3 days ago when we heard that the Chief of Staff nominee to President-elect Donald Trump, Susie Wells, was one person who had actually, one of her firms, was one of the firms lobbying towards the IPOP agenda, and that apparently she was paid, or the firm was paid, about $80-something thousand at the time, and almost $200-something thousand at the time to actually go ahead in terms of lobbying for the IPOP agenda. Now, I don't know what this recent information would portend, but in regards to that, I want us to actually take a listen to this.
Is Mr. President.
Right.
And for obvious reasons, he has to be satisfied with the legal position and also satisfied with the security positions. So I wish to talk so much, but so much has been happening now. The confidentiality of that is also what I said as a government officer.
You can't reveal.
That I can't reveal,
Right.
I can't, but I am very optimistic
Right.
that after all said and done, recently my governor, my amiable governor, Dr. Alex Oti, also talked about it, having met Mr. President, and some assurances that were given to my governor by Mr. President. Those assurances that have been given to my governor remain consistent with the assurances also that I have been given and the things that I have worked with certain circle that have been put up for this. And I'm very optimistic that within no short distance time, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be released from detention. Whether he's going to be released by the invocation of Section 174, or whether he's going to be granted bail, the Supreme Court, after all, said that the lower court ought not to have revoked his bail, considering the circumstances that he faced before he absconded, meaning the military came to his home, ransacked his home, and he escaped. Possibly, if he was there, he would have been shot dead, just like many others. The Supreme Court held that under the circumstances, his actions of running away was justifiable. That's what the Supreme Court said. And so that since they have already said that he cannot be denied bail, it is also our desire that if bail can be granted to him, I am willing, able to countersign that bail so that he can have the ability to leave detention, at least to be able to take care of himself, see his family, and undertake other activities that such a person should.
And in terms of
Trying to maintain, as a government officer,
yeah,
to
that's what I
maintain
mean.
a cloak of secrecy,
Right.
Confidentiality.
But your confidence has grown.
But my confidence, if we were just as minute as it was,
Right.
now my confidence is grown. The government at least is engaging, unlike previously where they didn't want to engage. Now we are talking. Now, when we raise objections about this and that, they are helping us to move the needle and to move the gauge and everything more further. But I believe that in the nearest or shortest possible time, as my governor recently said, Nnamdi Kanu will be free. The Southeast will be free from high crimes and criminality, banditry and assassination that are now commonplace. The Southeasterners can now go home to do their businesses, to see their families, and be more.
Okay, so that was House of Rep member, Labour Party House of Rep member Obi Agwocha recently via a Monitor television interview, giving us a certainty that the process for the release of Nnamdi Kanu is very prominent and something tangible is already ongoing. He also commended the current SSS DG, Adiola Ajayi, of actually enabling conversations. In fact, he said thank you very much, because unlike all the DSS DG, Bichi, conversations were not ongoing. There seemed to be no light at the end of the tunnel. But with this particular current DG, conversations are ongoing and they're looking at, getting to a political resolve. I'm sure you also heard when Alex Oti, Abia State Governor, also gave that assurance as well. So what I'm trying to say is why that is ongoing in pari passu with what Simon Ekpa actually disclosed on his X handle. The question is, will this materialize? What would the effect of this be? Trump seems to have a lot on his table. The chief of staff nominee to Donald Trump, well, we know that she has a lot on her table, despite the fact that, she understands the whole IPOP agenda and her firm was also dealing with it. So, question is, what will this portend?
One, I don't believe Simon Ekpa, so I better go with what Alex Oti said.
Okay.
I know that negotiations, discussions are going on about the release of Nnamdi Kanu.
All right.
Whether by granting bail or the president using his executive powers to release him as the minors were released.
Okay.
Because the president had that power to say enough of these court proceedings, let him go home. So Tinubu had that power. So two options. Either Tinubu exercises his executive power and release him, or he will be granted bail. Most important thing is for him to get out of detention.
All right. Okay, so that's why I'm asking that this particular situation whereby this announcement was made and the fact that there is a very strong possibility of this current member of Trump's cabinet will pursue this agenda. So, in other words, he quickly went to his X handle and actually put it out there and said the efforts for the secession of Nigeria's southeast region, and that with the relationship with this Attorney General, there is also optimism. He expressed optimism that Gatte's appointment could advance this cause. Like I asked you earlier, I said, in as much as the cause is ongoing, and this same United States or this same European Union or this same Britain, who know about this man's case all this while and have kept mum and kept quiet, despite several court orders, despite several court documentation asking for his release. How do we trust that this process will yield something positive? A couple of people have complained that he is too quick to make announcements, and sometimes when some things don't come to fruition, it almost feels like it's an empty balloon that is going on out there, or maybe he's misleading anyone or misleading people. Do you think it's too early to announce this, considering the fact that there's a lot on Trump's table? Do you think that the other time when he wrote, apparently he said the Nigerian government actually wrote against the referendum situation for the Biafran Republic in exile? So my question is, do you think this is too early? Do you think that there is anything that will come out of this? And how long, though, will this agenda take place that will give the fruition of what is expected?
I say I don't believe Simon Ekpa the one I'm interested in is in what is being done here in this country.
So if there is nothing, if there's no truth about it, why come and put it out on his X handle if there is no sincerity or purpose to it? What is the essence of doing that then?
Excuse me, I was here in this country in 2007 when the Igbo women wrote to Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
That was 2007, and then the leader of Mossab, that's Ralph Owazrike,
Okay.
the Igbo women wrote a protest letter to Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
When it get to Buckingham Palace, it was received and was signed, received and signed.
Okay.
Ralph Owazrike took that thing and was telling people that Queen Elizabeth has signed for Biafra. Understand me? That Queen Elizabeth has signed for Biafra. But this is a common thing that when a letter gets to a government office, there should be a sign of a receipt. We have seen it.
All right.
So what these guys are doing is deception. So I don't believe him. And Susie Wells is going to be the chief of staff to the president of the United States.
Yes. Yes.
Guess is going to be the attorney general of the United States.
Okay.
They have a lot on their table, so I don't believe what Simon Ekpa is doing. Simon Ekpa is deceiving gullible people. So my concern is what is happening in Nigeria. I have that trust, I have that confidence that Nnamdi Kanu will be out. But the question is when.
Okay. Well, apparently we've heard from the Honorable Minister there that talks are ongoing, and in the soonest possible time, definitely there'll be good news. But the reason why I'm asking is this, Mr. Anosike. We just recently heard of the information concerning the fact that the Central Intelligence Agency reportedly confirmed that Nigeria's sitting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is an active asset by the U.S. intelligence, and of course, it sparked international espionage scandal across the globe. There were polarization of thoughts and leanings towards this. So if he is an asset, how would this be possible with this information reeled out now? Will that particular, designation or deal between the Nigerian president and the CIA be truncated now that Trump is already coming on board? If he continues to become an asset, will this particular agenda be fulfilled despite the fact that he has received the, Biafran Charter?
Esther, do they know what being an active asset means? Do they know that you and I can be active assets to CIA or to FBI?
Okay.
Active asset simply means somebody who gives information
All right.
to the security agency.
Okay.
It could be voluntary or it could be paid for.
Okay.
Understand me? So there's no big deal about it.
There's no big deal with the fact that our president is supposedly an active asset. of the
Abiola
CIA.
was, Saddam Hussein was. Understand me? And there are still many people in this country who are still at so these people just read the headlines. They don't even understand what they are talking about.
Mr. Peter Anosike, kindly intimate me in details what you actually comprehend about this information. I need to also understand, because when I read that information yesterday, I was gobsmacked. I was confounded. I couldn't believe this kind of information. And it also makes a lot of conspiracy theories as to the fact that, oh, indeed, the president is a stooge. He's doing the biddings of the United States or the biddings of the European Union or, the IMF and all of that stuff. And basically maybe some things that have been put away or put aside that he has seemed unbrazen or unfazed about could be because he's an asset. Now, help me clarify what you just said. There is no big deal about it. So if he...
Esther, excuse me, is there anything wrong for I giving information to DSS?
Okay.
Is there anything...
For the well-being of the nation.
I said it could be voluntary, it could be paid for.
What kind of information would the president know that would be paid for about
I say it could be voluntary.
Okay.
It could be voluntary. You may see where things are going wrong and
All
decide that to give, it could be patriotic.
Could be patriotic.
It could be patriotic.
Interesting.
So what they should go and try to can research on what they are talking about. Being an active asset does not exempt you from prosecution. Understand me? It doesn't. It doesn't.
All right. If you
Saddam Hussein was, and still America did what they did to him.
Okay, maybe he fell off along the way with some agreement or some deals that he had with them. And let's hope that that's not going to be the same thing with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But the reason why I asked that question is, if the president is an active asset of the CIA, how will this particular agenda be realized? That is the fact that, Simon Ekpa wrote on his X handle, told the current Attorney General, nominee, congratulations, and that he has received the Biafran Charter. And of course, it obviously means that the cause for the project is already obviously manifesting with this particular cause. How do people understand the authenticity of this information that he reeled out on his X handle?
I am saying for the thought, I don't believe Simon Ekpa. You can also send congratulatory message to Gaz.
Okay.
You can send it to Susie Wales.
Wow.
Understand me? I said these people fabricate stories. I have told you what Ralph Owazrike did in 2007.
Okay.
Understand? That we have seen a letter from you. He began that to tell people that Queen Elizabeth has signed for Biafra. Okay. He was showing them that the Buckingham secretary stamp and the signature. When the so-called Biafra charter was received, you were not there.
Okay. You
were not there. We were told that the Biafran house in Washington is just 7 buildings from White House.
All right.
Who can verify it? So they are deceiving people, gullible people who are not there.
Interesting.
So for me, if Biafra is to be realistic, it has to be achieved here.
Not outside.
It has to be achieved here. What will be banking upon is what the press conference that ACF addressed 2 days ago, where they were saying that what binded Nigeria together expired 10 years ago.
Yes. I remember that.
Sure. So it otherwise, which is the same thing that Nnamdi Kanu has been saying over the years.
All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, now ahead of the there's a state protest slated to hold on an undisclosed date by Occupy Imo Group, members of Imo State House of Assembly, and they're saying that there is intense pressure to impeach the state governor, Hope Uzodinma. Now, Ihekweme Fabian, former aide to the governor, said that the Occupy Imo Group would also submit documents of impeachment offense against Uzodinma, whom they accused of truancy. And this statement was made on Tuesday through the media handle that Imo people have angrily rejected the governor, whom under his shared prosperity administration he served as Commissioner for Foreign Affairs. Some political loyalists to the governor as well, who spoke to impartial observers on condition of anonymity, have expressed disappointment over what they described as selfishness. Why is this coming up now when Hope Uzodinma and the APC won all the local governments during the just concluded local government elections, as well as the off-season election that brought in Hope Uzodinma the second time?
Well, Hope Uzodinma is the Ahab of King Ahab of Imo State.
Okay.
So he has he has all the members of the Imo State House of Assembly in his palm. Understand? All of them have been terrorized. Understand? So they cannot impeach him. They cannot impeach him. So for me, the only way that Uzodinma can be removed should be through the ballot. But this is his second term. This is his second term. So I don't think that any impeachment of him is going to work, because he is ruling Imo the way King Ahab ruled during his own time.
Okay.
So everybody is in fear. Understand? He has his men everywhere terrorizing understand Imo State. So the idea of impeachment, nobody will even have that balls
All right.
to move that motion in the Imo State House of Assembly.
House of Assembly. Well, that's a very interesting one. Like most of the questions I've been able to ask you, I do hope I would have loved you actually to explain further when you talked about the fact that there was no big deal concerning the fact that the president has been identified to be an active asset of the CIA or the FBI, and the DEA actually said that they're not compelled to disclose any further information to anybody regarding that particular supposed relationship that they had with the president. A couple of persons who understood it seemed like if the sitting president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria could actually be an asset, a couple of people think it's treasonable. But like you tried to explain, it could be voluntary, it could be paid for. There are different angles through which one can look at it. I wish there was enough time for you to help me go in depth in describing what you mean, because what you said right now is different from what David Hunde actually disclosed and all of that, because he was on a VOP 90.3 FM virtually yesterday to explain further, because he was the one who actually gave a spotlight on that particular information. Mr. Peter Anosike, thank you so much for coming right here to give us your perspective to some of the questions posed at you in the World News at 6. I sincerely do appreciate your input.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. To wrap up the world news, here again are the top stories. You heard that President Bola Tinubu presides over the Federal Executive Council meeting. President Tinubu's government proposes 47.9 trillion naira 2025 budget. Federal government secures fresh $134 million loan from African Development Bank. Nigerian military kills 88 suspected terrorists, arrest over 200 in major offensive against criminals. And PDP slams Wike over alleged attack on Sule Lamido's legacy. That's a wrap on the world news at 6. My name is Esther Machuku. Good evening and thank
you. And by Ekedekweni Muno, Kunisi Wenesere no Bosuru Chinketana Eastern News 24. Kifun Weriku Basta Makayabo, if you know 191 bo Esther Machuku, Gupta Nira Kono Bosuru Chinketa. Drop or I feature Nira Kona Odinkegi. Osade Kibi Abumana Yabo, Eastern News 24 Kaisino Yabo Kemesiano Munem.